everyone, I'm JD from Willowbound Journals. This is part of a series where I'm making a journal from start to finish for the mental health giveaway challenge I'm doing to raise money for Beyond Blue and the book I'm working on for Wellbeing. So this journal will be blue themed and filled with things that give me joy, so I hope it is an uplifting and comforting journal for the winner. To enter the giveaway and be part of this fundraiser, people are donating crafty items that will be made into $10 mystery packs, and donations are open until the end of February. You can email me for my address and to be entered into the giveaway. All the details are in the description box below. Last time we did this, 40 ladies from around the world donated and 100 packs were sold. So far we've got about 20 ladies who are involved, so feel free to jump on board. And while I share my process making this special journal, I want to share my journey with mental health, well, some of my journey with you. And just a caveat right from the start, as always, this is just my perspective and I don't speak for all people on this topic. In the first video, I started by sharing some fears that stop people from talking about their struggles and how to respond and not respond when people do talk. And in this video, I want to share about my tendency towards phases of depression and anxiety. And this isn't something to feel sorry about or worry about, because, I'm okay with this tendency. To feel sorry or worry is entirely valid if that's your response, like those are your feelings, but it's not necessarily helpful to let someone know that, because when you say you're sorry or you're worried about them, it's a response that implies a hope or desire for the struggle to go away for that person, which can then make that person feel like there's something wrong with them, that they are weak or that their life is deficient because of it. And I hope by sharing my journey, it can help people know that the struggle is okay and it never has to go away. There's nothing weak about people who struggle. There's nothing deficient about their lives. Because everyone has struggles in different ways. If you don't struggle with mental health, you've got other struggles in life. And so just as I have a tendency to be introverted, which sometimes can affect my life in a negative way, it's overall just a neutral thing, and I can work with it or against it. And it can be a very positive thing. So in this way, I like to work with my tendency towards depression and anxiety. And I want to, let people know I'm okay with it, so you can be okay with it too. To know that we don't have to change, and yet we're not deficient in any way, that kind of thing. Not that that's what people are implying. It just, that's the response. That's what it can kind of feel like. So it wasn't until I had full-blown depression and anxiety in 2015 and 16 that I actually started to understand I even had a tendency towards depression and anxiety. Before, I might have dismissed it or downplayed it, just ignored it. In fact, I still can sometimes do this, even though I'm aware of it, just out of that fear of being judged and out of that fear of being seen as deficient or less than or weak because of this tendency. One thing that helped me, though, was listening to Kirk on Psychology in Seattle, the podcast I am a patron of. Kirk is a therapist, and he has often talked about the anxiety he has experienced in the past and how he has a natural tendency to be anxious. And I thought, well, if someone so well put together like him, who is intelligent and helps people daily, if someone like him struggles with an anxious leaning sort of temperament, then it's all okay. I'm okay. It doesn't make people like us worthless or stupid or weak or useless. It's just something we can be aware of in ourselves and something we can work with. It also helps me to know that, babies are born with different temperaments. Some are just naturally more anxious than others, and it's okay. It's just a personality thing. Like some are more outgoing than others, it's nothing taboo. So we can just talk about the way we talk about different personalities. And I think I was not only born with a more anxious temperament, but a more philosophical one, which kind of plays hand in hand. So I love thinking deeply. And this might be the best place to start when sharing my personal struggles. So I've always struggled with existence, and my existence in particular. It just baffles me to think that anything is here and we exist, on a metaphysical level. It's absolutely amazing and wonderful, and I love it, but it's also bizarre. And sometimes when I get stuck, I can really think deeply about this. I can think it's all just some great giant universal illusion or a delusion in my head, and it baffles me that I exist as me with my specific personality, born at a specific time and place. And I think it would be so much easier if I didn't exist. And sometimes I could daydream about what that would be like if I wasn't in the world. But I don't get too far with that because it doesn't take long before I'm snapped back into reality. It's like, well, I'm here. I kind of have to do stuff. One of my biggest struggles with my existence is that I never asked to be here. And it seems highly unfair to me at times. I understand that life is a gift and I should be grateful. I get that. Just that's not a helpful response to respond that way, because I just want to share my experience as it is for me. Often life doesn't feel like a gift. It feels more like a curse, a burden, a problem. And I read a book last year where the main character was given a choice. He could give up his existence to save a stranger's life. That means he would never have existed, not just that he would die. And I'll be honest, I'm not the most noble person in the world. I wish I was, but the reality is I'm not. And I don't know if I would say yes, because I sort of think, well, I'm here now, and I want it to be worth something. If I have to go through all this pain and suffering in life, then let the life actually matter and not be for nothing. However, this book got me thinking about another question. What if I was born, what if before I was born, I was given the choice to save a stranger's life by not ever existing? For me, I don't even need to have the saving of a life being there as a reason to say yes, because I think I would say yes simply because I would prefer to never have existed. But here's the thing. I'm here now, and I could wallow in self-pity and complain about being here and waste my life and maybe even end my life if I was that way inclined, which thankfully I've never been that way. But now that I'm here, I do want to make the most of it. I believe existence gives us the responsibility to live the best we can. And as a Christian, for me, that means treating ourselves, others, and the world well. Now, part of me can feel bitter about this responsibility because, again, I was never asked if I wanted to be part of this. I had no say in the matter. I had no control. And of course, that might be more about me wanting the control, but as a control freak. And a big part of me, though, is thankful, for that responsibility. It's not all doom and gloom, in my head. I am thankful for life a lot of the time. A big part of me is super thankful for this responsibility. It's such a privilege to work and partner with God, to look after people, to look after the world, to look after the earth and the animals. And I think it's genius and it's wonderful and it's glorious. And yet it still doesn't take away the fact that I regularly struggle throughout my life with my existence. And a big part of that is not just with my existence, but with my identity. I struggle with who I am in life. I've struggled with self-hatred, and I've thought it would be better without me in the world. I've often had thoughts like that, so if you've had thoughts like that, you're not alone. I've struggled with feeling unworthy and unlovable. I've struggled with, just normal life things of stress and fear and pain. And I would describe life as going from one problem to the next, which isn't very inspiring, is it? I know. And I would describe myself as a person afraid of everything, right? So you can see here, I've naturally got this depressive tendency and anxious tendency, but I work with it, It's my personal struggle. This is what life is like for me. Sometimes it's a repetitive, constant struggle, but I'm okay with it. I still am grateful. I still want to do the best I can and, all that stuff. So, yeah, but throughout my life, pretty much for as long as I can remember, I've had depressive phases where I go into catastrophic mode, thinking everything is terrible. I'm bad, my life sucks, and the world is terrible. And I've often cried in bed at night and laid in bed during the day just doing nothing. And these phases didn't bother me much, because they never lasted long. They usually lasted from an hour to a few days at most. And then when it was over, it was like the fog cleared and my thinking completely did a 180, and I think completely different when I'm out of this fog. So that's another thing that really helps me. When I'm in the midst of a depressive phase, I've learned that it goes away. For me anyway, it usually goes away pretty quick. And not to believe the things I think when I'm in that phase, because I think totally opposite when I'm not in that phase. So yeah, I've had these cycles like my whole life, and when I was, going through depression and anxiety in 2015, it wasn't just a phase. It was an entire 2 years of just sheer pain. Sheer pain. So that wasn't fun. And I needed to do something about that. Yes, I could not continue living that way. But the depressive, anxious cycles, they still are here. Just because I don't have clinical depression or anxiety anymore, I still have these life struggles and these phases where I get into modes of thinking everything is terrible and hating myself and anxious, really, really anxious about my life and the future and everything. So there was this really cool concept that I heard on a podcast called, I think it was the podcast The Happiness Lab. I can't remember which episode, and I can't remember if it was The Happiness Lab, but go with me here. There was this quote that it resonated with me so much. It was something like this. I'm going to paraphrase it. There's 2 types of happiness. There's the happiness where people are happy with life, and there's the happiness where people are happy in life. And it hit me. It was like a light bulb moment. I am a person who has never really been happy with life because of that struggle that I just shared with you, with existence and with my identity. Yet, I am a person who is happy in life, meaning I have a very cheery disposition. You can probably tell, people watching my videos often have commented how cheery I am and upbeat, and, in my real life too, face-to-face, people have always described me as happy, cheery, spirited, and that's why people probably would have no idea that I have struggles with depressive and anxious funks and cycles, because I am outwardly very, very cheery, and it's not an act. It's genuine. I genuinely am a cheery, dispositional person. And that always confused me because, how can you be happy in life but not happy with life? The thing is, that's my reality. That is my reality. And it gets me through a lot, because if I wasn't happy in life, I think I would be in a much worse off position, in a darker place. But I tend to be a hopeful. It's funny because I would call myself pessimistic, but the reality is I'm actually probably optimistic. I will always see the bright side. I will always encourage people see the good in everything. I believe everything can be learned from. I believe there's good in everyone. I believe beauty is everywhere. So in a way, I am super positive and super hopeful and super cheery and spirited and happy. So that's my temperament, that's my nature, that's my perspective. And yet that doesn't take away the fact that I have this struggle with life. I don't know if I ever could describe myself as happy with life. And that's just me. That's my reality. And I'm okay with that. And why I'm very thankful that I'm happy in life. When I had depression and anxiety, I was neither happy in life or with life. And that was terrible. It was really, really terrible. After I got out of that 2-year depression and anxiety, I was happy in life again, even though I wasn't happy with life. And I don't know if I'll ever be happy with life. And that's okay. I'm still going to live the best life I can. I'm still going to try and make the world a better place. I'm just going to loop this video because I'm still going. And I know that with or without depression and anxiety, we can all still make a difference in the world. So that's just my experience. It's different for everyone though, of course. So at the end of the day, what I come down to is, now that I am here, the fact that I'm here, I choose to live the best I can and to help make the world a better place. It's just that I still have that struggle with life that on the outside people might not see. And I would like people to see it, not to feel sorry for me, not to worry about me, not to want better for me. I'm okay with this. This is this could be the best, and if this is the best, I'm happy. I'm super thankful for what I've got, you know. It's just that I want it to be seen, not so it can be changed or fixed or whatever, just so that people can see it. Just see it. That's all. I just want to be known for what I go through, and this is how I am, and just to be seen. That's all. And so yeah, I might not be my first choice to be in this world, is my thing, I guess. But now that I am, I choose to live as best I can and make the world a better place. So I struggle between those two things, and that's okay. I can name it, claim it, and I have my tools to deal with it. And I'm not sure if anyone can relate to this struggle with existence in this particular way, but I do know lots of people struggle with their identity. I do know that. I know lots of people struggle with self-hatred and, you know, low self-esteem and all of that stuff. And I just want to say, I'm with you, and it's okay. That struggle as well doesn't have to go away. We can still, we are a gift to the world. Whether you struggle or not, we're all going to struggle. We're all going to go through pain. We are all still a gift to the world. And to end on a bit more of an encouraging note, I can say from personal experience that the struggles with life and identity, yeah, they don't have to stop us from living the best we can and making a difference in the world. I've learned that people with depression and anxiety can make an impact just as they are, simply by sharing what they're going through, for example. They let others know they're not alone, and that can be life-saving. You, with depression and anxiety, you can save a life simply by sharing what you're going through, because that another person might be like, thank you, I didn't know someone else went through this. I'm so thankful to not be alone. And it's when we keep it quiet or think there's something wrong with people for struggling, that's when things are made worse. That's when people suffer more. And that's what I'm trying to get rid of. Not that I can get rid of anything, but, you know, I'm here sharing my journey, hoping that it helps someone suffer less on their journey. I'm not trying to make the suffering go away, because we will always suffer in this life, because there's always going to be pain and loss. We're going to hurt ourselves. We're going to hurt each other, even when we don't mean to. That's just a given. I used to fight this reality and think it was possible to live a pain-free life. It's not possible. If we can just accept that, we will live a much more content life. It's how we respond to the suffering. It's our perspective of the suffering that determines whether we let it cause us more suffering or not. And so, since given the reality we are going to suffer in life, let's talk about it, let's share, let's lift each other up in our struggles. Let's not try to fix people and make them change. Let's be with them in the struggle and be like, yeah, you can struggle and I'm with you. And we're here together. And if I can help ease someone's suffering, not take it away, but ease it, then that's why I'm publishing my book. That's why I'm doing this fundraiser. That's why I'm sharing these videos, and why I hope, going forward with my channel, I hope to share more regularly on mental health and just struggles in life. Like, I don't think we have to call it necessarily like mental health, but just being human. Because even if you don't have depression or anxiety, this speaks to anyone, because anyone suffers, everyone struggles and is human and has all of the things that go through our heads and the feelings that we go through and all of that stuff. So yeah, that's part of my story, part of my struggle. Right from the beginning, I've had that struggle since I was a little kid. I would sit on my bed and just think about existence and how it sucks sometimes. And it's okay. It's all okay. If anything in this resonated with you, feel free to share. Again, the response, I know people are going to respond however they want. No need to worry or feel like you need to change my perspective on things. No need for you to feel sorry for me or to think something needs to change in my life. That's not what this is about. This is just about, hey, this is my experience. I would love for you to see what it's like for me. And it's all okay. And if you want to share, I guess the two responses for this is either thank you for sharing, I learned something new, or I've been through that too. I felt that way too. I think that way too. Or I used to think that way too. Or I know someone who's thought that. Either thank you, I learned something, or me too. As opposed to I'm worried, you need to change, fix this, do this, you should think this way, you need to feel this other way, you know, you should be more grateful, or I hope the struggle goes away. No. We don't need those kind of responses. As people just sharing their struggles openly, it's either thank you, I learnt something, or me too. That's just me anyway. And I'm being totally clear in that, because, you know, that whole thing of if people want to step up to the plate, people want to be there for each other, and if we can tell them how they can do that, then that helps. And I hope that models for you too, for you to be aware of what helps you and what doesn't help. And you can tell your friends, you can tell your family or the people around you, hey, this is a great response, this one doesn't help me, this one makes me feel awful, this one makes me feel good. It's up to you which one your free will, you can choose how you respond, but I'm just letting you know this is what helps and this is what doesn't. You choose. And we can have clear communication, we can do that. And that's something I've learned as well from psychology in Seattle, to communicate clearly and to, like, obviously you have to know yourself first, like know what does help and what doesn't. That might take a whole journey in itself first, but then feel free to be confident enough and speak up about it. Tell people, let them know. You can be very clear and it's all good. Anyway, all to say, I hope that this is modeling it. I always hope to lead by example, that you can share as well, and you can ask for what you need as well. And yeah, I'm rambling now, but I hope this was helpful. I hope this series is helpful. I hope you're doing really, really well, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys. Special thank you to my beautiful patrons who supported me in January. If you would like to become a patron in February, and the link is down below, and that is where you get access to extra videos, all my printables, all my digital kits in my Etsy. There are post tiers, mail tiers and journal tiers as well. There is a Marco Polo tier and just lots of fun stuff over there. There is also a link to all of my available courses down below in the description box. You can join those anytime for all of my Patreon and courses. They're monthly subscriptions that work just like Netflix or Spotify, and you're charged on the date that you sign up, and you can cancel